I'm the youngest out of seven. My father went to public schools here in New Orleans. He went to Booker T. Washington High School in the mid-1940s. My four older siblings all went to the neighborhood public school. And my older brother graduated from Clark and actually went to Tulane. He was one of the first African Americans that was matriculating through Tulane. And for me, they sent me to St. Augustine High School, which I had to walk over a mile every day because they were worried again about the neighborhood public schools. Me and my two sisters, we also finished from Southern University. So I'm really proud that all seven of us have college degrees, but it was really like the tale of two generations. The older four, quality education from local public schools, were able to finish college and have successful careers. The latter three didn't go to public schools for high school, and we ended up going to parochial schools, and we also were fairly successful. And so with that, it shouldn't be the fact that a family has to scrape up dollars in order to put their kids in education environments when we're guaranteed by our Constitution and by our laws that every child should have the right to a quality, free, and public education. And so for me, that's always been an inspiration to say, how can we get New Orleans public schools back to this place of prominence that it once had at a point in time. You know, I've been looking at this and say, well, what's worked over the last decade plus? And I think we've clearly defined roles for government, for schools, and for stakeholders. So it's what I call the regulators, the innovators, and the collaborators. The regulators is government. We've done an innovative job in New Orleans to create a unique governance structure that focuses on strong accountability for schools, that focuses on quality charter authorizing, as well as giving autonomy to schools. And knowing that you have 5-year contracts, if you meet the bar, you continue to have the privilege to serve kids. If you don't, we're going to replace you. And we've been very diligent with that, very efficient with that, very consistent with that. And government understands its role. So with the unification legislation, the governance of the Orleans Parish School Board, and no longer the state starting July 1st, 2018, they understand the infrastructure and the government construct that they're working in, and that has helped us. But then in the lane of innovation, we have to continue to seed new schools. One of the things we did was have great leaders come in and identify great leaders that were already here in New Orleans. We created some very strong school models, but we need more innovative school models. We need to start creating more curriculum and more programs that meet the 21st century demand. We have to do much better raising ACT scores, which is a strong indicator of your likelihood for success coming out of into and out of college. And so we have to have more innovation in our system. We have to have more creativity. But then we need the collaborators. We need third-party entities to come together and take on a lot of the functions that a traditional school district would have done. And so we have to focus on our 0 to 5-year-olds, because everything we've been doing has been focusing on kids in existing situations, but we have to make sure that every 5-year-old is reading on grade level. We have to make sure that we have services in place that can help kids with significant emotional and behavioral disorders, kids that have special needs, kids that are English language learners. We have significantly growing Latino populations here in New Orleans, and we have a significantly growing Vietnamese population that we have to make sure we serve those families just as well. And then the last thing we have to do is focus on how do we now then make quality life outcomes for our children. There's still too many haves and have-nots in New Orleans, and so what we want to do is create a system of schools that put more kids on a path to living a quality life. Therefore, they're thriving and not just surviving. And I think we can do it. We have the infrastructure in place. We have the wherewithal. But what it's going to take is just continuously working together, having clear direction, everyone understanding their roles. And then once we do that, I think we're going to hit this next level where in 10 years from now, folks will be coming back and they'll be wondering how we really transformed ourselves to be the preeminent public education system in our country.